Welcome back, everybody. Now, the ANC's annual January 8 celebrations take place in Durban tomorrow. On its 107th anniversary, ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa will celebrate the event at the Ohlange Institute in Inanda, which is a school founded by one of the organization's founding fathers, Langalibalele Dube. And to tell us more about this, we're crossing to Sakina Kamwendo, who is in our Durban studios. A very good morning to you, Sakina. Thank you so much for joining us, and a warm welcome to you. Well, this is probably the ANC's biggest event, a political event on its calendar. So take us through what will be happening.
Well, good morning, Simpiwe, and you're absolutely correct. It is, of course, the 107th anniversary of the establishment of the African National Congress, and we know it's gone through name changes, it's gone through a number of presidents, and we are coming to you live from the eThekwini municipality in Durban. And as you can see just behind us, if I could just step to the side here, where you can see this particular celebration being centered around these presidents, all former presidents of the African National Congress, and hashtag 107, as you can see further towards the end there, talking to these celebrations. But of course, there's much to talk about. The ANC has descended not just on the eThekwini municipality, but on the province of KZN. And taking a look at the program, the ANC national leadership is spread far and wide across this province, all engaging in different activities and different engagements and activations. And all of this, of course, will culminate in the official January 8th statement that will also double as the launch, the manifesto launch of the African National Congress, given that this is, of course, an election year. And that's happening right here in Durban on Saturday at the Moses Mabhida Stadium. But we're going to get into some of the more pertinent issues, of course, around the African National Congress. Some would say it has never been more divided. It has never been more fragile as an organization as it is right now as we speak, as the organization celebrates tomorrow, January the 8th, their 107th anniversary. And I'm joined here with me by Mr. Dakota Lekwete, who is, of course, the spokesperson, national spokesperson of the ANC. Also, Lukona Nguni, political analyst and SABC's very own political editor, also joins us here this morning. So we're going to talk through some of the more pertinent issues. But I want to start with Mr. Lekwete to just talk about the ANC and their readiness for these celebrations right now.
No, thank you very much, and to all the viewers at home. So far, tomorrow we are ready for the January 8th statement. The president will be at Ohlange Institute and will go to all the 11 regions of KwaZulu-Natal. Then on Friday, on the 11th, we'll have a preview of the manifesto as well as the January 8th statement in a Galatina. Then on Saturday, we'll have a full rally at Moses Mabhida Stadium, where we'll be officially launching our manifesto, and where officially the president, on behalf of the National Executive Committee, will be presenting the January 8th statement. On Sunday, the 13th, we'll have a big beach party for young revolutionary democrats of our movement and of our country, who will join us at the beach, as we'll be celebrating and preparing for the voter registration weekend at the end of the month, where we want to encourage all young people in our country to go and register with the IEC and ensure that they cast their vote, in particular for the African National Congress.
The question is, of course, why KZN? Because the January 8th statement of 2013 was in this particular province, it was in the city, and there was an understanding that the ANC would move this event around to cover all the provinces. Well, I took a look, and it would seem as though you've not been to the Northern Cape, so why are we back in KZN?
Look, it's for historical reasons, but also it's for arithmetics. You know, KZN constitutes almost 25% of the national voters' roll. This is where the largest chunk of voters are, KZN and Gauteng. So we came here in KZN also as part of our historical pilgrimage. The first president of the ANC, President John Langalibalele Dube, was from KZN. Tomorrow at Ohlange Institute, the president will be laying the wreath at his graveside. And that is part of the reasons why we came to KZN, so that we can pay homage and respect to those who have ensured that this movement is where it is today, but also to our founders and pioneers, to respect them and also to pay homage to them.
So we've been here and we've kept our ear on the ground in terms of what's happening, and there have been some changes to the program, and we understand that some of those changes are being informed by intelligence reports of possible dissent against President Cyril Ramaphosa, which is why you changed tomorrow's venue where the president will be appearing from where it was originally scheduled to be. Is there any truth to that?
Look, the change is as a result of the fact that as the African National Congress, we can't disrupt the normal life of people. There's a soccer match there of the PSL in Herigwala Stadium in Moses Mabhida region. That's why we have changed from there to where. And that particular schedule was done almost last year. So we can't disrupt a professional soccer league, which is one of the social programs of our society. And as the governing party, as the leader of society, we must allow all the minds and thoughts and all other activities to blossom in our country so that we can grow the economy, we can grow the country. That's what we need to do. So soccer match is a serious business. We can't disrupt it. That's why we had to opt to bring the president to Ohlange Institute to lay the wreath at our first president's gravesite and respect him. So there's no threats like you are told. It's only because of a soccer match.
Well, we know that when President Ramaphosa was elected, the balance of forces, of course, marginally in his favor. And this particular province, KZN, was one of those that did not give its backing to the president. So have those issues been resolved? Because coming out of Nasrec, that was one of the key priorities that the ANC was looking to address, unity within the party. How far would you say you've come in that regard?
So far, we are doing very well in terms of our unity and renewal project. You would know, as the African National Congress, in terms of our internal democracy, we appreciate preferences. You can have your preference of CR, you can have your preference of NDZ, but once there's an outcome, all of us rally behind that particular outcome. And the outcome is the presidency of Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa. And all of us as members of the ANC, that's our focus, to ensure that we support his leadership, we support the National Executive Committee, we support all our structures and our alliance partners, we support even South Africans, because as a governing party, our people have expectations, have hopes. So we can't play with their mandate. We need to ensure that we deliver on their mandate. Our people want education for their kids. Our people want a future for their kids. Our people want jobs. Those are things that we need to focus on. Our people are not interested in rhetorics. Our people are not interested in divisions. They are clear. They want a solid, united ANC so that there can be growth in this country, there can be jobs. That's the focus that our people want. And that's why it was clear, even for the ANC now, that people who are going to be sent as members of parliament to the National Assembly, there must be people of high standing, high caliber. There must be people who are electable and sellable to a voter, because our people are clear. They don't want corrupt leaders. Our people are clear. They don't want dubious characters to lead them. And that's what we need to comply with as the African National Congress, because as the ANC, we exist for our people. We don't exist for ourselves. We say it even in our oath that we are an instrument of liberation in the hands of our people. And we must be loyal and honest to that particular conviction.
Mr. Lekwete, do you think that the ANC's definition of incorruptible, honest, loyal actually squares with that of the ordinary South African?
Yes, I do think so. It's only that in the past we have done things very awkward. And I think now it's about time that we must get to the business unusual. Our definition must be the same, consistent with the laws of the Republic, consistent with the Constitution of the Republic, because it is clear. When we say we don't want a corrupt leader, it means we don't even want a councillor who sells stands or somebody who wants, when somebody wants a job, they want a favor, either a sexual favor or something. That thing is wrong. It does not represent the ANC.
But what is the ANC's definition of corruption? Because people looking at the list right now, and yes, we take that it's not the final list, it's still going to go through a vetting process, but just by looking, a cursory glance at the list that you have already compiled, there are people who would say, you know, there are some names here that perhaps never should have made it onto that list. So what is the ANC's definition of corruption? What is a corrupt leader according to the ANC?
A corrupt leader is somebody who uses the public coffer to enrich themselves. A corrupt leader is a leader whose hands are in the cookie jar of the taxpayers' money. A corrupt leader is somebody who gets an ill-gotten wealth out of holding a public office. A corrupt leader is somebody who does not service the mandate of our people but wants to earn a salary or wants to get an allowance. That is a corrupt leader. And as the African National Congress, for some of the corrupt leaders, is people who either have been found guilty by a court of law without an option of a fine. Those are people that we cannot. They are unfit to can lead this society. They are unfit to can lead our people. And we must appreciate it. And our comrades who are in conflict with the law must appreciate that and not overburden the movement.
And I think that's the crux, that's the nub of the matter right there, because according to the African National Congress, from what you have said, this only applies to people who have been found guilty by a court of law, and the African National Congress not really perturbed by the perception that would necessarily arise from what people may have done. And with that said, we're all alive to the state capture commissions that are going on. So does that not weigh in on what the African National Congress ultimately decides in terms of who makes it onto the list?
Look, as the African National Congress, it's in our interest as a governing party to respect the rule of law. Now, the rule of law means also a Chapter 9 institution, like a public protector. Once there are findings and remedial actions that needs to be done against any one of us, we need to comply. We need to understand also that there are other institutions in the form of Chapter 10 institutions. There are other institutions in the form of ethics committee at parliament, at legislatures. Their findings are binding on us as the African National Congress. And it must be understandable by all our nominee and candidates. If there's anything which suggests or any finding which says you are in conflict with the law in terms of findings of such committees and such Chapter 9 institutions, we must respect the rule of law. We must not overburden the ANC by wanting to force ourselves or imposing ourselves, even if there are issues which are questionable about us. But at the same time, we need to respect the rights of those individuals, because sometimes we cannot find people guilty in a court of public opinion. In a constitutional democracy, a court is the only competent authority to arbitrate in any dispute in society. And the finding of the court is binding to all and sundry.
As is the finding of the public protector as in a Chapter 9 institution. Let's make a practical example. Let's talk former President Jacob Zuma. So, as far as the African National Congress is concerned, given what the public protector's office found with regard to the former president and how he behaved in office and at variance with the Constitution, what does that mean for the African National Congress? Because he is on your list.
Yeah, look, so far the list, we have not reached the final stage of the list process. What is still awaiting is the vetting process. Immediately after the vetting process, each and every candidate and nominee will be given a form either to accept or to decline. At that stage, I will answer your question.
Well, I would have hoped that you would answer that question right now, because as you said, when the public protector makes these recommendations, these findings, and they are binding, why hasn't the African National Congress been brave enough to step forward and actually make sure that they take cognizance of that finding?
No, look, for now, former President Zuma, he has not accepted a nomination officially. That process is still coming. All candidates and nominees, even the names that we have mentioned, they have not officially accepted or declined. So for now, it's speculations.
But for now, it means the African National Congress is not willing to go out on a limb and does what it says it's going to do. You would rather leave it to the individual candidates to do the right thing.
No, we are not leaving it to the individual candidates. That's why we are upright. We are clear in terms of our guidelines. We are clear in terms of the powers that we have given to the Integrity Commission to make a ruling on any one of us. I'm sure you have seen with all the mayors who are implicated in the VBS scandal, the Integrity Commission prevailed. And equally is going to be the same with other members. If there are issues about you, you can present yourself to the Integrity Commission to explain yourselves before the organization takes action. Definitely, we are going to take action against some of our individual members, be it the president, be it an ordinary member, be it all of us. We are subject of the authority of the Constitution of the ANC. We are subject of the authority of the resolutions and all policy positions of the ANC. And we have to be loyal and comply with them. And there's no doubt, if or buts about it, we are going to do it.
national spokesperson of the African National Congress, Mr. Dakota Lekwete. And of course, as you can see, flanking me here, two analysts who are going to help me in our next crossing to unpack some of what Mr. Lekwete had to say here with regard to the African National Congress now, and also that list process, which, as he indicated, still needs to be vetted. But we'll unpack all of that for you in our next crossing with SABC political editor Tumisani Hlope, as well as a political analyst Lukona Nguni. So for now, it's back to the studio in Simpiwe in Johannesburg, and we'll catch up with you later.
Indeed, Sakina, we'll be in touch with you a little later on in the program. Thank you so much for your update. That was my colleague Sakina Kamwendo joining us in Durban this morning to give us an update on the state of readiness for the party as it gears to celebrate 107 years in existence tomorrow, and also delivering the January 8th statement, which is an annual event, to sort of celebrate the party's existence in the past years. Let's now go for a coffee break and have more news at 8 o'clock.